This guy wrote, he said, let's see. I've been reading and watching a lot of dating stuff lately, and honestly, it's making my head spin. Everywhere I look, I keep hearing the same confusing advice. If you like a girl too much, she'll lose interest. But if you don't show enough interest, she'll dump you. If you treat her too nice, she'll walk all over you. But if you play it cool, then suddenly she wants you. It feels like there are a million rules and all of them contradict each other. One wrong move and it feels like I've blown it. So a lot of guys get into the situation where they feel as though basically they're getting a lot of contradictory things. Like if I do this thing, I'll lose the girl. If I do this thing, then I'll get her, but I'll feel weird for being this kind of guy, whatever, right? And this becomes from, they have single moms that they're growing up under that are giving them a lot of bad advice. The typical stuff we hear, oh, be a nice boy, make sure you compliment her, take her out on expensive dates, etc., right? And then a guy will go out in the world and do that, and he gets no results. But then he'll hear those same women say, I want a guy like this that does this, whatever. And then, as guys, we'll look at our women friends who'll say they want one kind of guy, and then we'll see them date what we consider to be a completely opposite guy of everything that they've talked about ever, right? And now we're confused because we're hearing one message and seeing another message play out, and we don't want to be like the jerk guys that our women friends are dating, but we know that being the simp guy over here by doing all these things that women say they want aren't going to get us results, and then there becomes confusion because what are we supposed to do? So this guy says, for context, I'm 24, I just finished grad school, and I've never really been in a long-term relationship. I've gone on some dates, but nothing seems to stick. I'll meet a girl I like, and at first she seems into it, we'll text, maybe go out once or twice, and then she just goes cold. Sometimes they're flaky with plans. Sometimes they'll say they're too busy right now, but then I see them posting out with their friends or potentially with other guys. It makes me feel like I'm either missing something or I'm just the guy they keep on the back burner until something better comes along. The frustrating part is I'm not some socially awkward guy who can't talk. I can hold conversations. I'm articulate. I've got goals and I'm building a career. But when it comes to women, I freeze up. I want to approach someone at the gym or on the train, and my mind just blanks on what to say. And even when I do get a date, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, trying not to do the wrong thing that'll make her lose interest. So my question is, how do you even start making sense of this mess? Do women really want guys to treat them like crap, or am I just picking the wrong ones? And if I can't figure out what to say to women in the first place, how do I get myself into the game? So this speaks of a guy that is really all in his head about women, trying to figure out the right thing to say, the right move. And I hear that because I used to think the exact same way, that if I just say this one phrase or do this one move over here, then I'll suddenly get women. And come to find out, spoiler guys, like there is no one magical anything that's going to make all women ever suddenly fall at your feet, will take off their panties and stuff. Like that's just not reality. And I hate dating coaches and programs that say that. They're like, oh, just this one thing. Like even with my program, I'll say, hey, here are some suggested things you can do that are going to allow conversations to start. Or these are ways that I ask out women that I have found have gotten me consistent results. But it's never like a one size fits all. It's like, because even with that, I'll say, ideally, though, you're going in with like the woman having some level of interest in you, because going up to a woman that she looks at you and is like, oh, you're not my type, whatever, you saying a magical phrase to her is not going to make her be like, wait a minute, he wasn't the one I wanted, but now he's the guy of my dreams. Like that's just not authentic. And so that's why I don't teach that stuff. But I do think that for most women you meet, when you first meet them, they're not seeing you and having an automatic like heightened interest. It's more of like he's interesting. And then from there, it's a balance of like you trying to lead her towards where you think it could go, and then kind of reacting to what she's saying and doing based on how she's interacting with you. Because like a lot of guys will think, for example, that like, Chad Thunderstroke will just meet a girl and be like, hey, I like you. We should bone. And the woman's like, oh my God, I've been wanting you since you first saw me. Let's do a thing. Like that can happen, especially if you have like a higher status. But on average, most average women are meeting most average men. And that's not averagely how it's going to go down. Typically, again, you're going to meet a girl. Like I remember, for example, when I was in college, right? Second day of college, I went to the girls' dorm. I met some of the girls there. And I could tell in hindsight with that conversation that first night, I met like 3 or 4 different women and we had a good rapport. Some of them might've been a little flirty with me, but I was 18, didn't have game, right? But in looking back, I realized some of those women ended up becoming long-term friends, some of who through the grace of God or whatever, I was able to actually date for a little bit. But I didn't realize at the time that, like, when you first meet women, it's kind of this thing where it's like, it's level enough to where they're thinking, okay, I don't know where he wants to take this, but right now I'm open to whatever. That's why I tell you guys early on in the date, when you first meet a woman, it's a lot easier to try to get her on a date because she has no preconceived idea of who you are or what you're going to be in her life. It's a lot harder once you're the friend because now she does have a conceived idea of how you are in a friendship capacity. And if she's built up a good friendship with you, she's not trying to ruin that. You know, I didn't know that. But then it becomes the thing of like, okay, so you meet a girl and she agrees to a date. How do you keep that going? Because the hardest part is keeping an attraction and not falling into this thing where it's suddenly petering off. But then do you do that by being a complete a-hole to her? Do you try to be a simp to her and be nice to her all the time? Again, either of these things can work, but in the long run, I find they typically end up blowing up in your face. And so the part that I think a lot of guys are missing is the part where in order to keep her attraction, there are three important things that you have to be doing at any given time to make sure that she's attracted, she's seeing your masculine qualities play out, you're not being a pushover, and she knows that you have enough self-respect for yourself to where if things go haywire, you're willing to walk away and that you're not going to be driven crazy if she decides not to date you anymore. And that's a lot of stuff to have to throw up in the air, right? And so the three things that you need to be doing is rewarding her, challenging her, and being willing to pull away. So let's go over what each of these things mean, right? So first off is the reward. So obviously we don't want you just throwing gifts at the woman and just giving her high praise and stuff, right? But the problem a lot of guys have is they don't set up things in a way to where a woman feels like she has to prove herself to you. Because we come into the game like, I'm just happy if a woman just spends time with me, talks to me, pays any kind of attention whatsoever. And so if she says yes to a date, we're just ready to throw down the world for her. And in the process, we're not leaving room for things to be set in stone or set in place to where she can feel as though she's being rewarded for doing that thing. So for example, right? Like on a first date, let's say you guys are, you go to a restaurant and you're willing to pay the check, right? So you have the money set to go to pay for this meal. And then the bill comes and you get the bill and she's like, hey, I can pay for my portion, because girls are going to always do that, right? Or at least the ones I find have decent manners are going to do that. And then your response is like, no, I got the bill, I'm good. But then she says, okay, that's cool. How about if I take care of the tip? All right. So this is the first time in this interaction where she is now offering to pony up something as an investment. She's effectively saying, I want to invest in this interaction early on, right? That is something you reward her for, you know? Maybe at the end you say, hey, I just want to say I really appreciate you tapping in for the tip. You know, you didn't have to do that, but I really respect that. You know, you're all right. You're pretty good. So now she feels like, oh my God, like that little compliment, you're giving her the compliment as the reward for doing something for you. So what's going to happen now is on subsequent dates, anytime she does something for you, you're going to give her some kind of compliment, some kind of praise. Maybe you like go on that third date and you like, she cooks a meal for you. And so her reward is you throw it down in the sack to her really, really good. And now what's happening is, one, you're training her to want to do things for you, because now she knows when she does nice stuff for you, you reward her in a positive way. Okay. But also this allows you to not think that you got to throw everything at her, because you want to also have stuff to be where it's like, hey, wait, she needs to prove herself also. Too many guys think that we're the only ones of the equation that need to be proving ourselves. And if you don't leave room for that to happen, then you will have women that come in that expect to be the only ones rewarded, and they're going to walk all over you. All right. So you got to leave room to be able to reward her for when she does things that you like. The opposite is also true, which is where you challenge her. So let's say, for example, she's on a date and she does a neg hit at you or something playful. Let her know that you can push back on that, because a lot of guys will let women say things and then just be like, okay, yeah, that's whatever, and not make any commentary on it. But no, we want her to know that you are willing to challenge her. If she has, an idea or an opinion of something that you don't agree with, don't just be the guy that's like, oh yeah, I can totally see that point. No, challenge her on that. Challenge her on her position. Why does she think and feel that way? Could she not see how your position is potentially better? You're thinking this is going to cause turmoil, but this is the kind of friction in a relationship that women actually like, because women don't need you to be an insult, to be a jerk guy that's going to insult them or put their ideas down all the time. But they do want somebody that they can have interesting conversations and experiences with. And so that means them being with a guy that's open to challenging them. You might be with a girl that's like never gone on roller coasters. Are you willing to say to her, hey, come on a roller coaster with me? I know it's new and different, but this one's safe and easy, but I want you to ride with me. You're basically challenging her anxiety and fear over that thing. But women like guys that are willing to pull things out of them, to get them out of their shell, and to be able to cause that friction that's going to allow them to grow. Because women, if they've been single long enough, they get into a space where they're not getting challenged. They're doing the same mundane, day-to-day, boring things that they've always done. And you being a guy that comes into their life, they want you to be able to challenge them a bit and bring that newness that they want, you know? And if you don't do that, you become a very boring and dull guy that she's not going to want to talk to. And then, of course, you have the ability to pull away. So, unfortunately, because most guys don't have the kind of dating experience that allows them to really have an abundant mindset in terms of how many women they could actually get, what ends up happening is most guys are just open to taking negative experiences with women all the time. Like if a woman's complaining about him or insulting him or trying to push him around, most guys are like, they'll just take it, because it's like, again, they'd rather be with somebody than be single and lonely. And so that could mean saying yes to experiences and things and treatments that aren't actually healthy or good. And they think that doing that is going to keep a woman, or is going to keep him in a woman's good graces. And I have found that the opposite happens. Men that don't have backbones, men that don't push back, men that aren't willing to say, if you talk to me this way, if you treat me this way, if you go about doing things in this manner, that I'm willing to actually remove myself from the situation. If you're not willing to do that, more women are going to be disrespecting of you, and they're eventually going to leave you anyway. Like so many guys I've coached have talked about how they were like doing all the right things in a relationship, and she still left him for a guy that doesn't treat her half as good. But that guy is standing up for himself, is bold, and is clearly a guy that's like, I can get you and other women. So if you don't want to act like these other women and treat me the way I want to be treated, F you, I'm going over here. And guys will be like, oh my God, that's so hard. That's so heartless. How could they be that way? But women don't want a guy that is willing to take bad treatment. Because again, if you look at the life of a woman, women are trying to find men that are going to stand up for them because their lives that literally depend on it. So if you can't even stand up to her, why would she think you're going to be able to stand up to bigger threats? Because she's nothing. To her, she's 5'2", 5'3", 145 pounds or something. And she's like, I'm little old me. I'm nothing. He can't stand up to me. Who's to say he's going to be able to stand up to other things that come along? And unfortunately, because the guys, we get in our head, we're like, oh, I got to respect women. And so whatever they say goes. And I don't want to, I don't want to invalidate her experience. And I don't want to make her feel like I'm a threat. She needs to see you as a threat. She needs to see that you have the ability to be threatening to other people. And more importantly, she needs to see that you have a level of self-respect for yourself to where you don't just take bad treatment from anybody, especially her. So if you aren't able to demonstrate that you can't walk away, then yeah, unfortunately, you're thinking, why would I want to show her that I can walk away? Don't I want to show her that like she's the end all be all and that I actually could be a long-term partner? No. What's happening is she's saying that you're able to be disrespected, and that doesn't make her respect you more. It makes her respect you less. And you're not doing her any favors by not walking away from her when she is being disrespectful. So you have to start walking with that aura. You have to give women the impression that you like her. And this is where the balance comes in, right? Because you have to show a woman you do like her, you do care for her, you do want to see what's best for her, you do want to take her on fun experiences, but that you're not going to be a pushover. You're not going to be talked to any kind of way. You're not somebody she can just walk all over. And that as much as you do want to do things for her, there's a limit to what you're willing to do. You have to be able to stand up for yourself and not just take any crap. And that if she turns out to be that kind of person, hey, you know what? Best of luck to her. She can find some other kind of simp out there that'll fall for that. That's not going to be you. And that is that's the way that you keep balance between being a guy that's gentlemanly, because you can be a gentleman and still not take crap. You don't have to be a full-fledged jerk to stand up for yourself or to say no to her, because those are still ways of you demonstrating that you have boundaries and that these are the things that you need in place to feel respected, and that you are going to respect her, but not to the detriment of yourself if she's not willing to do the same thing back. And I think that's why so many guys have a hard time keeping women's attraction, because we think once we get them attracted, okay, I don't want to like rock the boat. I don't want to make her mad ever. I don't want to like stand up to her or whatever, because then I could potentially lose her. And it's like, no, I found women knowing that you can get other women and that she can in fact lose you is what's going to keep her in check, is what's going to keep her having a good attitude towards you, and is going to keep her continuing to want to do things for you that make her prove to you why you should keep her around instead of the other way. So hopefully that gives you guys some insight into really how it is that you keep a woman's attraction without becoming a jerk, and how you keep it balanced, and how you're able to do that in a way that she's going to respect you. You're going to have boundaries set, and you're going to be able to keep around women that you really, really like. Because if you don't do those things, you're going to find a woman that would actually work for you long-term, but because you're, being a simp towards her, she's not going to be attracted in the long run. So hopefully that helps you guys with that kind of stuff. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Harry Dating Convos. Don't forget to visit HarryWilmington.com to download my free ebook, Texting Women Like a Boss. And while you're there, if you're ready to take things to the next level with your dating life, check out the Get Girls Academy membership program for exclusive strategies and live coaching. Go to HarryWilmington.com to learn more and join today. Lastly, if you've got a question you'd like answered on one of these shows, leave a comment below or write me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.